What's up, Milwaukee? This is your boy Track Lacer, quarterback of the mill. It's like hike for the block, the Capitol Drive hero. And what I'm giving you today is a Green Bay Packers season opener week one recap. And if you notice the way that I titled week one, I spelled it WEAK because it was weak. And we love our teams, but we got to keep it real with our teams. But I'm not going to go the way that you think that I'm going to go with just bashing the pack. I'm going to kind of keep it real and kind of explain what happened as I saw it. And the second part of this video, I'm going to do a CD review for some boys from up north. One of the forgotten parts of the whole Wisconsin hip hop scene. We tend to think that all of the music in Wisconsin comes out of Milwaukee. But I got some boys I'm gonna do a CD review on. They extended family for me. 101st Airbourne. Name of the album is Reintroduce Ourselves because they have new stage names. But let me get into the Green Bay Packer recap first because I'm gonna make that kind of short. I'm only gonna come up with 4 key points. So I got my notes here, so bear with me. So 36-16. First of all, that's the final score. And one thing I can say is that there's not a whole lot to be embarrassed about when you're talking about losing to Seattle at home. Fam, Seattle has lost one game in 3 years at home during the regular season. You might even want to do an investigation about how they structured that arena because it's so damn loud that the home field advantage they have is almost unfair. It's ridiculous. Like the arena is like right on top of the players and the fans are bananas. So let's get that out the way. It's no shame to lose up there because can't nobody win in that building. So salute to the 206 for that. But Aaron Rodgers, they did a poll last year where they said not only is he the best quarterback in the NFL, he's also the best player, period, in the NFL. And I think that you really got to start reevaluating that because Aaron, whether you're talking about big games in the regular season or big games in the playoffs, that talent that he has, the talent that Stephen A. Smith be like, he's a bad boy. Let me tell you something right here, Skip Bayless. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. He go into all that, but keep it real. During regular season big games and during big games in the playoffs, you rarely see that same talent that he really has, that we know what he's capable of doing. And 189 yards, that just ain't gonna cut it because Green Bay, we don't have no dominant running game and we don't have no dominant defense. You can only pass for 189 yards a game in a situation like Seattle, where you got beast mode, you got the boy Turbin behind him, who I think possibly might even be better than Marshawn Lynch, but he's just not getting the carries. And you got a crazy defense. When you got that, you can throw for 189 yards. When you got what the Packers have, you have to pass for 300 yards minimum in order to even be in the game. And this whole thing about not challenging Richard Sherman, it come back to bite you, man. Let me tell y'all something. Deion Sanders was way faster than Richard Sherman. I'm talking about way faster. Like, I think that Deion Sanders could run the 40 faster than Richard Sherman with some Timberland boots on. I think Deion Sanders could run a 4.3 in Timberlands. Minimum 4.4. And when they used to play against the Dallas Cowboys, Michael Irvin would go to battle with Deion, man. When San Francisco with Jerry Rice would play against Deion, man, they challenged Deion. And Jerry Rice is way slower than Deion, but they went at him. You can't play a professional football game and be so in awe of somebody that you don't, check their chin, see what they're working with. So that was a big part of why I think we lost. Now let me get on to the other 2 points. The other 3 points. Oh, point 1A. Jordy Nelson is not a number one talent receiver. And that's part of the reason why we look so bad. Like keep it real. And there's nothing really to do unless you trade for Anquan Bolden from the San Francisco 49ers. This is who you going with as your number one receiver for the whole night. And obviously, he's just not that dude. And it's not to knock him like that, but he's not a number one receiver, man. We probably should have threw that money at Greg Jennings when he wanted it because he ain't doing nothing in Minnesota. He don't got no quarterback in Minnesota. But number 2, Russell Wilson. It's less about how bad the pack was and more about how good Seattle was last night and are. And a big part of that is Russell Wilson, man. Right in our backyard, Madison, Wisconsin Badgers. Shout out to the 804, Richmond, Virginia, where he from. I don't even think he's really a game manager like somebody who doesn't have talent and just throws those short passes like Alex Smith in Kansas City. I think he has more talent than a game manager, but he still manages the game. The boy don't make no mistakes. He run that play action, those short passes. He know when to run. He ain't out here all reckless like RG3. RG3 be doing the Harlem Shake, you know, before he get hit and after he get hit. He's smart when he runs the ball and he's smart when he makes his throws. And it's hard to defend against that. He is just precision. Chancellor, I promise you, that boy Chancellor, I really think they got like 4 Ronnie Lotts in their defensive backfield. People used to be scared to play against Ronnie Lott because they didn't want to get hit. That's how hard I think all 4 of the people in their secondary hit. But that boy Chancellor, man, there was a play. Jordy Nelson caught the ball, and I swear he almost went to slide like a quarterback when he saw Chancellor coming for him. And you're just not gonna beat too many teams with your offense when your receivers are shook to go against their secondary. And Green Bay Packers receivers, man, just to be honest, they look just like Denver's receivers. Like Denver's receivers did not want it in the Super Bowl, and Green Bay Packers receivers, you know, are people they wasn't trying to challenge that secondary, man. And the final point I'll make is that we shouldn't be that panicked about the Packers and how bad they looked because Seattle is just that good. And they probably will repeat this year. Keep it real with you. Only team I really see beating them in terms of potentially stopping them from making the Super Bowl is the Arizona Cardinals. And watch what I say. Because Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, beat them twice last year. And their defense is right there with Seattle's. You know what I'm saying? So if they get a little bit something going on offense, I think that they could upset Seattle. But not in Seattle. If they got to play a playoff game in Seattle, then even Arizona, it's just a wrap. If you know what I'm saying, they got to somebody somewhere got to get some type of. Well, I guess that's not gonna happen either if they win the most games in the season. Seattle's just gonna repeat, man. Just keep it real. So Packers, don't worry about the rest of the season being a nightmare. You just went against the best team in the NFL, and we're gonna do our thing. All right. Now, let's talk about some music. Let me get this up real close. Y'all see that? The Orpheum. 101st Airbourne Productions presents Kevin Coolwater and Airbourne Bonde in Reintroduce Ourselves. Now, these cats are formerly known as MCAK and Hurricane, and they come from, correct me if I'm wrong, Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and Plymouth, Wisconsin. And they part of a movement that I started uh, a few years ago called 1848, and an extension of that movement is Big Ten Radio. And basically, my concept with 1848 and Big Ten Radio, or the Big Ten Radio region, as I call it, is that it's a lot of talent in Appleton, Wisconsin. Shout out to my homie Jamal Shane. It's a lot of talent in Stevens Point, believe it or not. It's some talent up in Wausau, Wisconsin. It's a whole bunch of talent out in Madison, Wisconsin. Shout out Tef Man. Um, it's a whole lot of talent in these smaller cities outside of Milwaukee. And I try to highlight that, and I try to salute those boys, whenever I get the opportunity to. So, um, going back, one thing about 101st Airbourne is they always have a ton of songs on their CD. It takes me back to the Master P days, the No Limit days. They always have at least 17, 18 songs. It's not a lot of local artists that really do that, so I always commend them for that. Um, the first song, Reintroduce Ourselves, is kind of a laid back beat. I like the fact that they had a real guitar on there, so that was hot. Um, my only criticism about the first song is that 101st Airborne, they really known for having a lot of energy, and there wasn't a lot of energy on this for being an open song. But they quickly make up for that on track number two, which I think is, I'm not gonna say by far, but it's really up there. It's like the best song on the album, called "No Escaping This," and it got a real familiar sample. I can't remember the song where it comes from, but nobody's ready to deal with us. I can't remember somebody in the industry who used that before, but Slang Hughes has an outstanding verse on there. Shout out Slang Hughes. Always kind of reminds me of Talib Kweli when he spits. Uh, AK had, excuse me, Airbomb Bondi had a real nice line where he says like Michael J. Fox performing brain surgery on you. He's always good for those real clever lyrics like that. And Kevin Coolwater, brought it. And then, our homie Double C. I've always been a fan of Double C. He kind of fell out with the group a little bit, with 101st, and they kind of mended the fences. But Double C, I've always enjoyed the flow and the energy, and he kind of brought that trademark thing to that song, so that was outstanding. Next song is called Hardcore. I really like that one because they did the Nautilus beat. And for those of y'all who don't know the Nautilus, that has been sampled in hip hop so many times. You probably remember Ghostface used it on a song called Indy 500. But Nas has used it a whole bunch of times, and in one of his lyrics, he even said that he could do his next LP just by sampling different sections of Nautilus. So he basically saying he could have did a whole double album just from sampling different parts of this song. So they made that good. And then the last song that I'll tell you about, that's very nice, is called Many Times, and it features Chino Excel. Yeah, the same Chino Excel that Tupac was getting at, for dissing him about jail time. But Chino was one of our most slept on lyricists, and I think this is the second time that 101st Airborns have done a song with him. But the song is called Many Times. It has like that real opera kind of beat, like that hip hop beat, with kind of the violins and the strings and a real classical sound, and it's raw. Chino's got the raw vocabulary on there spitting. And then Airbourne Bonde, I think it's his trademark. He just does like a real good job of interjecting humor and kind of telling a story about him traveling in time and the different things he saw. So that's also an outstanding track. Um, there's also this track number 9 called "As I Write" that features yours truly on there, and you gotta listen to that because I kind of came at Gerald Walker's head a little bit, and I still stand on it right now because Gerald Walker's manager made some type of comment that Gerald Walker is the greatest MC Milwaukee has ever seen, living or dead, and it was just kind of preposterous to me. And it's not to really, knock his skills because he's not a whack MC, but I thought that comment was kind of overboard. So, you know, I let my, thoughts be known about it. So, but as I write, the song that I'm on with them also is probably the second tightest beat on the whole album. The beat, I remember when they sent it to me, was just crazy. So I would enjoy listening to that even if none of us contributed a verse to it. But overall, I'll tell you the positives, the pluses, and the minuses. My strong feeling is that the pluses of this album by 101st Airborne's is they have great song concepts. They really good with song concepts. Just thinking outside of the box, and it's just really enjoyable. Like they got a song called "Out of My League," and it's basically talking about how they don't match up, to even be trying to talk to this female. And I don't think that there's enough conceptualization in hip hop anymore in terms of people making songs. People don't know how to use concepts in songs anymore, but they do it pretty consistently. Another plus about this album is quality beats. Um, they got a few beats on the album where you just kind of zone out and you just, you almost forgetting about the lyrics and who all is on the track because it's like, man, they can really pick some beats. It kind of reminds me of Rick Ross. Rick Ross is very good at selecting beats. Um, and another plus is the humor. I just think that's sorely lacking in the game. I think everybody is tough, everybody's a thug, and nobody knows how to laugh at themselves or make other situations humorous. And 101st Airborne, aka Kevin Coolwater, and Air Bomb Bondi do a good job of that. I only have one negative about the album. And the one negative I have about the album is they did a couple of songs that's like strictly kind of talking to the females. And it's kind of like, you know, with ladies, men, and, all rappers make songs like that about being a ladies' man and they can put it down and stuff like that. But the strange thing about 101st is when they do those songs, basically talking about that they're ladies' men, for some reason the energy just goes down and they don't seem like they that into the song, you know. But on the converse side, when they do a song like "She's Out of My League," where they kind of poking fun at themselves and saying, "Hey, I don't have a chance," then the energy is up here and the quality is just better. So I would just suggest in the future the type of songs that y'all do when you go back and listen and kind of hear that you just don't have the energy, that you're just not really into it, those are the songs to just take off the album and replace them with the trademark stuff of high energy, humor, and great concepts. So that's a small negative, but I highly recommend it. So salute to them. I think this is like their 115th album or something like that. They have like a Tupac type of work ethic. They always making songs. So I definitely want you to get out there and support it. Request to see him in your city at a small venue. Do some live shows and stuff like that. And just keep repping Wisconsin hip hop. This is your boy Track Lacer. I am out of here.